Hola, 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 everybody. It's me, Maris, and it's a Tuesday. It is Tuesday, right? Yeah, it is Tuesday. It's a Tuesday evening, and here I am. I've got a client coming in for a foot detox, so I've got her water boiling right there, and I was like, it's time to talk to the old crows. And earlier today, when I was meditating, and it was like the telephone wire, not the telephone wire, I'm sorry, like the electrical wire, the power wire that's outside on those big, tall, wooden, whatchamacallits. Yeah. Hey, hola Maria, how are you? And I was, and so I'm meditating and I see this line, and then it's just like all these crows start landing over there, and they're all kind of just on that cable, watching, and kind of making a little noise. Not negative noise, but, just making a little noise. So I said, well, hopefully I'll have time to do a reading in between clients, and yes, I do. And so I said, well, let's get the old crows out because they were obviously trying to talk to me earlier. And I just love this deck. Oh my gosh. It's a very insightful deck when you're reading. I'm an old Carl Jung believer. And so I like to um, kind of use his philosophy when I'm, okay, all right, now you sat back down, when I'm reading or using the cards. He says everybody's an intuitive. All you need is a picture to jiggle your memory. And I'm like, okay, that card stuck out. Come on. Okay, all right, so we got a bunch of cards. Don't go anywhere. And 1, 2, 3. Okay. Whoops, it goes that way. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and put them over here on the thingamajig and flip that so we don't run behind. And before we get started, so while I'm getting this lit, do me a big favor, love this video, comment where you're watching from, or something cool, you can comment whatever you want. Something cool, something neat, upbeat, happy. Let's choose to have some positivity today. There's a lot of negative stuff going on around us, and there's a lot of talk of the W word, war. And I'm just going to say this. We're already at war, and that's okay because we're all cool, calm, and collect, and we already know how it ends. All right, so I did a little smudging for you. I'm going to do a little smudging for me. Okay, so like I said, don't forget to love this video so that my words have integrity. So don't forget to love this video and share it. And if you'd like, I would love for you to follow me. Subscribe and follow. That would even be more cool. But don't forget, comment something cool. Put a little conversation over there because I can talk to you, kind of when I do a reading. So we're using the Crow's deck, the Urban Crow, one of my faves. And let's take a look at the energy coming in. So I think it's pretty interesting that and I got to move this so it doesn't look all lopsided-y. I've got it on top of my bed today. All right, so what we're looking at here is night. Okay, and I want you to look at night from a couple of different perspectives. Okay, nighttime is in the circadian rhythm where our body is at rest. The moon here in this picture is fully illuminated. And so what I'm getting here is what is done in the night. Doesn't mean it's negative. Okay, so don't start, getting, antsy in the pants or anything about it. Doesn't mean it's negative because a lot of things happen at night. How many of you are metaphysical and you astral travel? And a lot of times, if you're a person that likes to do some astral travel, you like to go into the celestials, and you might be doing a little, working with the angels. Okay, so that's something cool that happens at night. Just because this says night doesn't always mean it's negative. But what I'm getting here, when we've got that big old full moon, I am getting that it is an illumination of that night, or of night. It's an illumination. So there's a lot. It's a time of learning as well. Again, sometimes there's a place that we go to, people like me, that we go to at night that's called night school. And we go up into the realms, and we study. We learn new things. And then we wake up in the morning and somebody asks us something, and we just off the wall respond, and they go, "How did you know that?" And you go, "I don't know how I knew it, but I knew it." That was what you learned in night school, okay? Sometimes when I have a client that we're needing to work on something or focus on something, I will go to night school to get better insight on how to help my client. So what happens in the nighttime, this is saying it's talking about being illuminated. So this is a good energy coming in, because, for people that go to night school, guess what? You're going to be learning some pretty groovy stuff. All right, now, I like this card in this particular place, okay? Because this is our obstacle card, and you'll see it is the self-interest. And so what I'm looking at when I'm seeing this card is that this is a time of selflessness. All right, what's your obstacle? Being selfless. Okay, and they're like, how is that an obstacle? Isn't that kind of like what, all the gurus want us to lose our ego and connect in? And I'm going to say it in this aspect, this is a little bit about losing your ego, but not to that kind of like, I'm going to be a Buddha and go walking 1,000 miles, the next Gandhi, or, I'm the female Gandhi or whatever. And that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about kind of taking some of our selfishness, and selfishness isn't always negative. It can be good. But it's about taking some of our selfishness and putting it aside and thinking of others. Makes me think of a guy, I think his name is Benny Johnson, Benny Johnson. And he's a journalist, like one of those independent journalists. And long story short, he's got like Twitter pages and blah, blah, blah. He went down to New Palestine, or East Palestine, Ohio, and literally handed $20,000 out to people. So this would be something that would be, that we would see here. An example of, not saying, hey, everybody, we're going to go hand out $20,000. It's just saying it's kind of like leaving your ego to the side and thinking of others. It's not about me, it's about us as a community, or us as a couple, thinking outside of self. So I love that card. I think it's really important that we see that in that obstacle. Now, here is our card that is our help, and it is a communication. And I'm like, we really learn to say, we really learn to say or speak, connect in, and our words are heard and understood with the exact meaning that we're sending them out. So there is no misconstruing of the things that we say. We're coming into a time in all this energy here that we're going to be able to communicate and connect in our, and it's effective. I was going to say, they get us. Oh my gosh, they get us. It's a really good little vibration. Just, we're thinking, oh my God, but there's so much negative stuff going on. And I'm like, true, but chance favors a prepared mind. And we've been talking about this because it's been coming through over the last couple of months, and it's been telling us, okay, this is how you get your base, this is how you get your balance. And guess what? All of that work that you've been doing comes to a fruition, and I get what I get as a talent show. So we're going to be like this crow here with all of our little props, and we're going to put on a talent show, and we're going to wow people. They're going to love what we have to offer. Okay, one of the things that I want to point out here is that we're going to have solutions to offer. Okay, we have some solutions to problems that are going on. I mean, and they're actually like real solutions, not some kind of like off the wall, what you post up on Facebook, because really you don't know anybody that's outside of your family group, so you'll say, crazy stuff or whatever. No, this is like very, very insightful, coming through your gifts, and they are very, very well received. One thing that I'm going to say in this one, and this is going to be like a really weird card, is coming off of that some people feel some shame. Some people feel some shame. And a lot of that has to do with this card, okay? Let's just put it like this. Okay, so there are some people that during COVID lockdown took a bunch of online courses and learned how to do other things. And then there are other people that while on COVID lockdown decided to binge watch Netflix, and they gained 40 pounds, okay? That's the kind of thing that I'm talking about when we're looking at this, and I'm talking about feeling shame. So it's kind of like, fudge, if I'd, thought about that, I could be doing this too. So it's a little bit of shame that, maybe some people weren't on their game, and that's where it kind of puts a little bit of, and I don't want to say a disconnect, but a very, very slight distance in between the two people. And what is that all based? It's based on fear. It's based on shame. It's based on that reality that you look in the mirror, and I'm going to say, you look in the mirror and you're like, oh my gosh, I let it get to this. And I want to, this is kind of a weird story, but, and it was during the first couple of weeks of the COVID lockdown. Now, we were still open because we were deemed essential. And, but I would go, I didn't see as many clients and things, it was like my emergent, my critical cases or my chronic cases. And anyway, long story short, making sure my client didn't hear yet. One day I'm like, dang, it smells like a boy's stinky locker room. And I'm like, God. And then I realized that boy's stinky locker room was coming from me. And I'm like, holy cow. I'm in the shower and I raise my armpit, and that's where and that's where I get the big whiff. Let me just say, my arm hair grew out as long as my husband's, and I didn't even think about that. And so it's been, 3 years for me to be able to publicly talk about that and not feel fear or shame or whatever. I'm like, oh my gosh, I let myself go. So that's the kind of feeling I want you to understand that this is coming from. And it's not really, don't take it or don't hold on to it as a negative. If you start experiencing that fear or shame, sit down and think about what is it that you're feeling in that fear or shame. Because a lot of times it's old hat, things that really don't matter anymore, or, that you really, it's like 40 years later and you really can't fix it. Now, if it's pretty recent, yeah, you can fix it. But what this is here is telling us is that it's okay to go ahead and I'm gonna say, and just tip it over and let it go. You don't have to own that fear. You don't have to own that shame. You don't have to own that negative experience. We acknowledge it, and then we tip it over, let it go, disconnect from that. We have no longer have a commitment to that. Caching is talking about doing a little bit of storage stuff. And I'm going to say chance favors a prepared mind. It's always good to get some stuff stashed back. You never know, just like we really didn't anticipate the pandemic and COVID lockdown, and how many of us were caught without underwear, without toilet paper. Okay? So it's okay to go ahead and stash some stuff back. As we all know, that chance favors a prepared mind. And I love this last one because it's a big reinforcement to things that we've been talking to. Again, chance favors a prepared mind. So if you are anticipating getting through the storm safely, that's where your focus, that's where your energy is. If you're anticipating that you're being abandoned, like they're sitting there, I'm ready to sing and nobody's there, that is what you're going to be bringing in. So anticipate what is great and place yourself in that high vibration. We're going to do just fine through this. Remember, chance favors a prepared mind. And when you're not allowing fear and shame to rule your life and rule your emotions and your perspectives, that good things, strong things come through. And even when we have an obstacle, we get through it really well. So peace, love, and harmony. My client's here. I better get my shit together. Love y'all. I'll see you soon.